I want to tell AOC.
It is truly what you would call living rent-free inside somebody's head. Literally.
AOC.
Oh, here we go. What's up? What's up?
He loves it.
He does love it.
This morning, she intended to become a prophet.
Oh, it's because
And
it was
she
raining
said-
this morning, and I said, God is good.
Even God doesn't want
He's
to
a pastor.
Let's establish one thing. AOC is so dignified and respectful, it's untrue. If it had been the other way around, and a MAGA person just being the brunt of every single line, it's like a Trump version of the Bronx. They were playing some type of AOC bingo. How many times can you say AOC? Every question had to be mentioned AOC. She's just so respectful. Helicopters going over. Literally. She's just so respectful as she is speaking and doesn't really... Literally, when you finish. Doesn't really let any of it rise at all. Just incredible. And here's the other thing. Excuse the cliche, but she clearly lives rent-free in so many people within the MAGA world.
My life, I've seen New York through good times and bad, through boom times and crime waves, through market crashes and terrorist attacks, but I've never seen it quite like this. Get me the snake, please. The snake. African American jobs were the best in history. Asian American, the best in history. Hispanic, the best in history. Women, people with the first president in 78 years that didn't start a war. We had no wars. None of these stupid wars. Such a shame. Do they have that? Do they have it? We have lost respect all over the world. We were the most respected country in the world 4 years ago. We were respected more than our country was ever respected 4 years ago. Our subways are squalid and unsafe. The ceiling tiles are falling down, and they look worse than a third world country. The medians of our highways are crumbling. Our sidewalks are littered with garbage, bottles, and trash. But worst of all, the discarded needles from people that so desperately are in need of help. And we have mobs of migrants fighting our police officers and giving America the middle finger. Like it or not, this is a rally. This is as far as the eye can see. You have to see the lines outside. They're going for miles. Because I called up this morning. Do the people like me or do they hate me?
I'll be honest with you, maths is not my best subject, but even I can count. And 25,000 people in the park. Okay.
Offering to demand law and order in our inner cities, restore peace around this world. And that's a message that all Americans can get behind. And that is why you saw more than 25,000.
Sorry to stop it there. I would love just one person to say, how confident are you the figure is 25,000? Would you put your house on it? Would you even put, I don't know, $1? 20? Seriously. Anyway.
More than 25,000 people show up in the deep blue Bronx tonight, bringing the same energy and enthusiasm that we felt a few weeks ago in deep blue New Jersey, where more than 100,000 people showed up to hear from.
We were going to put up within a period of 3 weeks. It was all built, laying there, ready to be put up, designed by the Border Patrol, who are incredible people, ICE, who are incredible people, all together. I wanted to put up concrete plank for the contractors here. They didn't want it. They had to have hardened steel. They wanted 6,000, 7,000 pound concrete. They wanted rebar in the middle. They wanted different materials, harder to cut. So we had very hard steel, very good stuff. Everything was good. We had the panel on top. It was called an anti-climb panel. We had the best wall. and it was going to be, we're going to add 200 miles of wall. It would have taken about 3 weeks. And then we had the rigged election. And you know what happened after the rigged election? They took the wall, and instead of putting it up, they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar.
Let me be the first person to tell an unoriginal joke. The meth gala needed a doctor. Unfortunately, the parallel universe that Dr. Ben Carson inhabits is not
exactly right. It has to be results driven. I don't know if you saw what happened in the South Bronx today. It was very moving. People from all races, all creeds and colors gathering there, thousands of them to listen to Donald Trump. Here's just a little taste, and you can react. Watch.
From the very first day that we take back the White House, I believe we are going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
I would love, just love, some of these people who turn up to the meth gala to, well, hear their views on certain policies and how they're going to solve, I don't know, everyday situations that affect the folks in the Bronx. Facts and figures, by the way. Sorry to be a party pooper, but the park only holds 3,500 people. Just putting that fact out there, because facts are not something they really bother with at Fox.
It was loose. It was crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I think they're regretting keeping him in that Manhattan courtroom. He ends up in the Bronx with 30,000 people. He's
a terrible thing to say, but I believe it. Many of the hostages that you're waiting for and everybody's waiting for, those hostages, many of them are dead. Many of them are dead. And it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing, but many of those hostages are dead. And that's why when you see these negotiations where Hamas is like not getting back, they're saying, man, we could make a good deal, but these people are no longer alive. When I saw the way they were treated, when I saw the way they were thrown into the cars and how horribly they were treated, there's no way that those hostages, and some will be alive, but many of those hostages are dead. It's a very serious, horrible thing. It would have never happened if the election weren't rigged. It would have never happened if I...
Long story short, there's a show on British TV called University Challenge where they get the most intelligent people to go through a series of different questions. And they always say, your starter for one is, okay, so we'll do that now. Your starter for one is, what word are we looking for here? What word, please?
Hardworking, patriotic, and this is some... Hardworking, patriotic, and this is some...
Well, I'll tell you, it won't make a difference at all, Jake, and that is for Donald Trump to be the ringleader of and invite all his clowns to a place like the Bronx. New York will never, ever support Donald Trump for president. We know him better than anyone, and that means we understand what he's all about is just for himself. So this state will go solidly behind Joe Biden for president, as it has in the past. So he wants to spend his time doing these made-up fake rallies and pretending they're support here. Be my guest, because while you're doing that, Donald Trump, Joe Biden's out there on the other side making sure he's delivering for all Americans. And so go ahead, spend all your time you want in New York, because we'll be with Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's out there winning over the rest of the battleground states.
New York hates you. 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 New York hates you.
Right. Well, it's not just a friendlier city. I think he could have even found friendlier boroughs than the Bronx, which, as you noted, has been overwhelmingly supportive of President Biden. I think, as I noted yesterday, this is an attempt to, I think, trick some of our folks here, but I think the Bronx knows better. What we see here is that former President Trump has been in court. He has mounting legal fees, and a lot of this is about covering the increasingly precarious financial situation that he's in. But Bronxites know better. We've seen a couple years ago when some of his supporters tried to shut down the Whitestone Bridge. I think it's important that we understand that there's a lot of folks that may be at this park that are not from New York City, that may be from surrounding or different areas. And we just want to make sure that folks are staying safe, given all of that ruckus that can come in.
Well, let's talk about that, because we have seen the way that Trump and Trump supporters will turn something into a talking point on the campaign trail. Mm-hmm. So if they exceed the number of people allowed under the permit, if there's something that happens, does that end up coming back on Democrats. If the NYPD were to go in, is Eric Adams held accountable for that in a political manner?
Well, I think in terms of a crowd size, it's less about the size and more about who is there. If we're holding a rally in the Bronx and there are folks from different states that are traveling in, which tends to be common with the Trump campaign, then I think it kind of shows that he kind of has to travel around with folks instead of going into communities and actually building authentic support. And again, the Bronx knows better. We've kind of we've sized up the situation and we see what's going on. This is like essentially I think it's a GoFundMe for legal funds that we've got happening here in the city, and it's important that we stay focused on the issues that are most important to us, and that's healthcare, that is education, that's our infrastructure investment, trying to make sure that we get those resources to the Amtrak and to everywhere else.